Welcome to another edition of 42 Straight Years In, Volume 2, Part 37. I'm a crackhead update. So far, I haven't seen any. I went outside early, drank me a cup of coffee, and walked around. In this neighborhood, 7-Eleven, I got three of them, less than 3 blocks apart from where I live. They do not allow no hanging out there. You cannot hang out. And it's a Target and a Kroger. Same thing apply there. They don't allow no hanging out over here. But I definitely know it's crackheads over here because it's a large public housing right down the street. I see them walking occasionally. But what we do have over here is a lot of wannabe professional prostitutes. Seems like every lady who live here is selling sex. One lady told me, she said, I go for 300. I played dumb on her. I said, boy, that's a lot of pennies. Nobody don't walk around with 300 pennies in their pocket. She said, man, where you from? I said, I'm from Dallas. She said, man, I'm not talking about 300 pennies. I'm talking about $300. I'm top of the line. And she's 34 years old. She look okay. She got the body and she got the face. I asked her, I said, how many, evidently you're not being successful at 300. I said, it's a pandemic. I said, everything is on discount now. I said, so you got to discount that. And she thought I was crazy and walked away. Anyway, let's move right along to some more serious topics. Have anybody checked out the news lately? The two LA County sheriffs were sitting in their SUV. Some guy walked up and shot both of them. Now, people got tired and start responding in kind. There's no public outcry when they shoot an unarmed man in the back. He's fleeing for a non-violent offense, but you shoot him in the back talking about he reached for something. That's a bunch of crap. And the people who were protesting went to the hospital and were chanting, I hope you die. That shows you what people think about law enforcement now. If they doing this type of stuff, shooting unarmed people, and this is 2020. Can you imagine what they was doing in the 70s and the 60s when it wasn't all these cell phones? Now I understand why people in the inner city, when I was young, feared the police so bad. They would tell you, never let the police trick you into getting in the car. Hey, we just want to take you and talk to you. When they take you, you're not coming back. They're going to give you that charge. Now, all these people was afraid of law enforcement. That means law enforcement was doing some crooked things. The only reason they're getting caught up now because all these cell phones and cameras is everywhere. You can just imagine what this was like in the 70s. Well, I've known a lot of people to get shot by the cops. I mean, a lot of them. Wouldn't be no investigation, no nothing. Over in South Dallas, they shot a old 76-year-old lady. She came to her door, she had a broom in her hand, and she was sweeping. And they just shot through the damn door and killed a woman. They said they thought it was a gun. This is an old lady. And that's pitiful. But it won't be there's not a need to march and tear up property. You got to respond in kind. And you'd be surprised the relief you'll get. Just as good as they give, they should be able to receive. Israel, that's what keep the Israelis afloat. They got instant response. Anytime the Palestinian or any of the neighboring countries do anything to Israel, they got immediate retaliation. The Jews do not even play with you. You do anything that's a threat to them, they're going to destabilize you or kill you. And they don't particular about who they get. Just as long as they retaliate, they don't even care. You know, America, with all the brainwashing and the religious thing, that holds a lot of people back. You know, you can take an illiterate person and mold them into anything you want them to be. You take a person's culture, take their language, you got them. In the next millennia, they'll be speaking your language and adopt your culture. Like black people in America, they're almost cousins to white people. Basically, the same holidays, the same everything. They recognize it and participate in it and adopt it as their own. Especially when I hear a black person say that Jesus Christ was black. Get out of town, fool. Those people in that area, no Greeks are black. Not the original Israelis, they were not black. You know, and majority of the Americans, the black Americans, did not even come from Africa during the slave trade, from a region that was close to where all the biblical things occurred. Most blacks came from the Gambia, Angola, South Africa, countries that's close to the coast, the Congo. And some of those people had never seen a white man until the 1800s. So it was no prophets or no one ever visit those people. They had their own religion, and it was good enough for them for thousands of years. Now here it is, some functionally literate fools trying to tell you that this is your religion. You just a copycat Christian, that's all. If things are screwed now, you talking about racial disparity. Can you imagine what it was like in 1864? Can you imagine what America was like for a minority? So you saw little Susan riding in the wagon going to church, and the master would say, that's why I'm so successful. I go to this building here, and we pray to our God. So you say, I ain't got nothing to lose, so I'm going to join the bandwagon. And majority of these mega churches, sure, they do something for the community because they got to, because they're a non-profit. But why is all these preachers millionaires? They living off the poor person dime. You know, that's something to ponder about. If you wanted to be Christ-like, which all Christians say they want to be Christ-like, to be a Christian. According to Scripture, Jesus wasn't a rich man. He was poor. Why you got to have all these extravagant things? If you were just spreading and trying to save souls, why you got to be rich? And you didn't accumulate that money. You accumulated off your congregation. You're living off a poor person dime. They continuously pass the plate around, or they got a new technique. They take 10% out of your bank account. They don't even need to pass no tithing. They just reduce it, deduct it from your bank account. 10%. Now, it's all and came down to a money thing. Everything in America is based on money. Everything. When you don't have it, you feel the weight of the American dream. You're not living one. People living in barely making it. This pandemic, it exposed a lot of people. The average American do not have 90 days of saving. They do not have it. Well, they can pay rent, mortgage payment, car note, insurance, all the utilities, eat for 90 days. They don't have money saved up like that. They're living from paycheck to paycheck. I remember once I went in Walmart, and this was during prime shopping hours. It was about 20 people in that store. before they increased the food stamps and the stimulus checks, man, there was nobody in that Walmart. I had told another guy, I said, all these people stocking up on this toilet paper, hand sanitizer, alcohol, cleaning supplies, that's going to run out. These are working people. They're going to have to spend that money on other things. And I'd be doggone, I went in there, about 20 people in the whole store. I said, man, where's everybody at? As soon as the stimulus check come out, you'll see them in there buying laptops, bicycles for the kids, all type of crap. Those people was at the bottom. And still there's a lot of people suffering who are not working or they working part-time. In America, the highest thing is you can't work part-time and survive. I got my Wi-Fi, but it's saying Wi-Fi, no internet connection. So I got to troubleshoot that and see what the hell is going wrong. I got it hooked up. I followed the instruction. The light's not flashing. So I got to see how that's going to work out. My last video, when I pulled out the shank, they demonetized me because of the shank and the vulgar language. So on this one, you got to check the picture out behind me. Yeah, this is the first time I've been able to shoot a video sitting on the sofa. I done made this into me a little studio. I got it mobile where I can move this stuff out of the way and set it back up. I got the LED lights where it won't be flashing. And I thank all the subscribers for wishing me well. And I hope you guys prosper also. It's enough money to go around for everybody. It's just that the elite few got all of the money. 1% of Americans own all the wealth in America. And in order to be a 1%er, you got to have $8 million. That's not counting assets. That's after all your assets is deducted. You got to have $8 million to be in that elite category. I ain't touching on prisons and all this. Everybody will say, well, that's what you started out with, prison. But the social and economic factors is what lead to prison. And when a guy get out of prison, that's what he's faced with. And if he don't handle it correctly, he'll be returning back to prison. In America, you free to think. Without money, you're up shit creek in this country. You are up shit creek. You're going to get poor medical medical treatment. It's going to be poor. Take your broke ass over to Baylor Hospital, which is about 5 blocks from where I'm at, and see if they'll deal with you with no insurance or Medicaid. They don't even want that over there. They want insurance. They're going to stabilize you, transfer you to the county hospital. They're not going to deal with you at all. Enough ranting and raving. I still got to reorganize things in here. It look kind of like Afghanistan right now. But I'll soon get everything organized and have me a nice, comfort place to live. And on TDC, Tim Snow with Texas prison system recently did a video about the old Texas prison system. You got to look at it was a money-making entity. And they didn't give a shit what happened to no convict. They did not care. Every man must work. It was all about work and production. All these factories was ran at maximum capacity. And it was going to be staffed by inmates. So all the bullshit they got going on now, man, half of a prison do not even work. Again, that's one reason they have so much problem. These guys ain't got nothing to do, and then it took all the privileges away from them. No privileges. They got their little rec yard and sitting there and watch TV all day, play table games. That's about it. Where even though the old system was harsh, they had a lot of activities for you. At one time, they had set up a little small kitchen in the gym. You go over there and order hamburger and french fries, buy you a cold drink, A lot of times they had movie night. At different prisons, different nights was movie nights. But a lot of time we go into the movie, they give everybody a bag of popcorn and a soda, or a hamburger, french fries, and a soda, where you can take in the gym and watch the latest movies. That practice been outlawed. They took away the boxing. They took away the intramural sports. Used to be every prison had a basketball team, had a baseball team, had a volleyball team, had a boxing team. And they travel from prison to prison playing other prisons. And you're allowed to go in the gym and watch them. Had a weightlifting team. They ain't got nothing now. Just do some time. They took out all the free weights. They still got the machines. And you don't have one privilege at all. And parole done tightened down so much. It's hard in hell to make parole. All that shit about you don't get in no trouble. That only play a minor part. You wouldn't even be seeing the parole officer if you wasn't eligible. So no matter how much trouble you got in, if you went and saw a parole officer, that means you was eligible for parole. If not, you would not see him. But making it, that's another story. Nobody can say what criteria they actually use. Like one parole officer, parole board member told me, he said, it's a numbers game. He said, if you're not a cop killer, a rapist, mass murderer, your chance is just as good as anybody on making parole. Because we got to let so many people out. Because we got people, thousands of people backed up in the county jail ready to enter prison. So we got to let somebody out to make bed space for those guys. So if you're in the right number, you'll make parole. But, they crack down on the violent offenders because a lot of the fools was getting out and go right back and commit a violent crime. And no parole panel want to be responsible for your release because they're going to backtrack and say, who was sitting on this parole panel released this guy? A lot of these people make a career out of criminal justice. They don't want that in their file. They released some nut and he went out and killed 2 or 3 more people like MacDuff and a couple more guys did. So it's hard in hell to make parole when you're a violent offender. Everybody's not in prison for drugs or burglary. A lot of assaults, attempted murders, a lot of aggravated robbery, robbery by assault, robbery by threats. A lot of those guys incarcerated. Some of those guys are Molly inmates. They're still not making parole. Guy used to tell me, one guy told me, say, you know why you been here so long? I say, no, why? I knew why. He said, you need God in your life. I said, yeah. I said, you got God? He said, I got God. He with me every day. He with me on this rec yard right now. I say, but you got 99 years. Your ass is still in the same prison with me. Why you haven't left? Why God hadn't released you? He couldn't answer that. I said, if guys start flying out of this prison, they're going to put a fence on the top of it. They already got it all the way around the side. They'll put one on the top. So there will be no flying out of here. A lot of guys, they didn't understand. When I had been in prison 19 years, I made parole. They protested my release. Dallas County protested my release. I had did 19 years and made the parole. I came back again, made parole 22 years. They protested. I came back again 24 years and made parole. And I ain't never get to see the light no more. So that go to show you, even though I had a screwed up disciplinary, what they were looking at and what point I would always just stress with the parole board, hey, I've been on 2 furloughs. I came back to prison. So they show you I'm trustworthy. The same way at Eastham. I worked outside at night, putting ice in the gun pickets where the guards is. Even though I wasn't approved, that's a trustee job. I was not a trustee. I was not approved by Huntsville classification to go outside of that fence. But that unit warden, he knew me since he was a guard, and he trusted me. He looked on my file and see I've been on 2 furloughs. If you wanted to escape, that's when you would escape. While you was out. I went on 1 furlough for 5 days. Then they increased it to 7 days. The second time, I stayed home a whole week, and I came back voluntarily. So that would weigh on a lot of wardens. I would tell parole officers that, hey, I've been out before, twice. You ain't have no problem out of me. I didn't come back and test positive for drugs or commit no crime. I came back on my own. And a lot of parole officers would say, hey, it's not us keeping you in prison. It's the trial officials and the crime victim. That's who keeping you in prison. So for people jump the gun trying to figure my case out, I was making parole. What was getting me on the parole, I know how to talk for my damn self. Then I had all the education. That's what they would look at. Every parole officer would say, hey, a guy like you can make it on the outside. Every one of them would tell me the same thing. And the key to making parole is that first parole officer you talk to. You got to get his vote. It's 3 people on the panel. You got to have 2 votes in order to go home. I'd always get the first one. And what they write on that file, that's what's going to help you. They judge you on your posture, your hygiene. Like a lot of guys go see parole officers, they slouch down in the chair, sagging their pants out. Yeah, they writing that shit on their report. You ain't going nowhere. They show a criminal behavior pattern. That's what they call it. Yeah. All right, enough ranting and raving. I ain't even ate breakfast this morning. Y'all keep your shanks ready. In case we got to ride at a moment's notice. I'm in a new environment. And I was going to include Lion Willie. But I'm going to save that for another video because it's rather long. And y'all like and subscribe. And I thank you for watching.